Hi. We're back on the stairs again, which means I'm going to be talking about some serious shit in a way that sounds like your racist schizophrenic uncle on Facebook going woke. In a shocking turn of events, a corporation is doing a bad thing. On July 1st, Sony announced that it will be ceasing production of all physical media for their games in 2028. This announcement came on Canada Day because they hate me personally. They released a statement explaining their reasoning, and I'm going to read parts of it to all of you because, frankly, I don't want to go through this alone. Physical game disc production for all new PlayStation games will be discontinued starting January 28th. Following this date, new games will be available on the PlayStation Store and all retailers and digital formats only. This is terrible. You'll know why in a second. This is the natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to customer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. Ah yes, because the metrics of two entirely different mediums where one is artificially postured as being more widely adopted and easier to consume means that it's better. Where have I heard this before?
AI Overviews now has over 2.5 billion monthly users.
Oh, right. Sorry, my bad. We'll continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation and how players can access games and provide choices as to where players prefer to purchase new games, whether that's at retailers or PlayStation Store. I don't think you need me to explain this to you, but if you're going to a retailer for a digital PlayStation game, you're just getting a box with a code to redeem it in the PlayStation Store. This statement is just a straight up lie. Once January 2028 rolls around, your only option is to lease the product from the PlayStation Store. That's it. But Camp, digital downloads are so convenient. What's so bad about them? Well, fuck your mother, listen to this. Sony decided to hit people with a 1-2 punch and make a sister announcement regarding the stores for the PS3 and PS Vita. This is essentially an elementary school level essay letting you know that by this time next year, the digital stores for those two consoles are shutting down. That's it. They're just going away. They even have a section that basically says, we know you bought this and still use it, but most people are using the PS5 with no games that we recently increased the price of, and we also want people to pre-order the PS6 that will be impossible to afford unless you sell a kidney. But you know what? It makes sense. The PS3 and the Vita are 20 years old and 15 years old respectively. If they don't want to support it, then that's fine, I guess, especially considering that in their statement, they said you'll still be able to download previously purchased content after the closing date. For the foreseeable future, I have opinions. All the other gamers and commentary YouTubers have opinions. None of them think this is good. But you know who thinks it is good, apparently? Shareholders. Since announcing this news, Sony in stock went up by 3%. Gurdon, someone who knows more about how stocks work than I do, theorizes it's due to investors thinking this will cut manufacturing costs, therefore generating more profit. Don't let the small number fool you though. The current evaluation of all of Sony's stocks and market share is $118 billion as of the day before this announcement. So a 3% increase is over $3 billion. By doing this, they just theoretically generated billions of dollars in shareholder value. Just like that. I can assure you it's going to take a huge amount of boycotting and pushback to even begin making them lose a portion of that money, let alone enough to make them change their mind. And why would they? They just theoretically generated billions of dollars worth of capital by just getting rid of one of the last bastions of owning anything. We know we don't own anything in 2026, right? We just don't. You don't need me to tell you that. We've seen examples of stores shutting down and online services being cut. Just look at Sony themselves. June 26th, it was revealed that 551 different movies and shows are going to be removed from digital libraries of anyone who purchased them in the United Kingdom. To be clear, this is not like Netflix losing the rights to stuff that was included with your ever-expanding subscription costs. This applies to people who bought these movies with real money for the thing, exchanging capital for goods and services. And now access to said good that they bought is revoked because Sony couldn't strike a deal with the distributor. And that somehow retroactively hits your purchase? Could you imagine buying a DVD of your favorite movie and then 10 years later the people who made it break into your house and go like, yeah, we couldn't reach a deal with the publisher, so we're just taking it back now. You don't have to imagine. That's what this is. 2 years ago, I made a video critical on subscription services and how you never own any of the media or software you get with them. Once you stop paying the company giving the product, it's no longer yours. From the get-go, the terms are clear. You are essentially leasing the product and its benefits for however long you need or want it. But despite that, I made the argument that it's better to just buy software outright. If you buy a software or a digital good with a one-time payment instead of a subscription model, you actually save money in the long run because in a few months you'd probably make the price back of it anyway, and also you own it forever. However, I don't think that's true anymore. You can make a one-time purchase for a product, be told you own it, and then later on, just have it revoked because you didn't buy a product. You just took on a long-term rental. I use DaVinci Resolve Studio as my main editing software. I used the free version for a couple years, at which point I liked it enough that I wanted to support the company. So I made the one-time purchase to get the studio version, and it felt like a breath of fresh air, paying for something once, and then you have it forever. Remember when that was like just the standard? Like, that's just what happened. That was the agreed upon thing when you spent money on a thing. Some resellers advertise it this way, citing a lifetime license. Once you buy it, it's yours forever. You get all the updates following it. It's awesome. However, the only problem with that I noticed while researching is that isn't what's in the license agreement. Looking through the DaVinci Resolve Studio EULA, nowhere do you see the word perpetual, meaning that this license doesn't actually have a set end date at the time of writing, not even your death. And if it did, it wouldn't fucking matter because Clause 5 says that they have the right to change pretty much anything in and around the program, including the licensing terms. If I get any comments about how I say license, I'll fucking kill you. Shut up. The team behind it could wake up tomorrow and say, hey, this license agreement is no longer valid. Now you have to accept this new one that requires you to pay $50 a month and also the heart of your firstborn for continued access. You have unlimited access and free updates now, but how long will that last? That's not guaranteed. Also, I don't speak legalese, so let me know if I'm wrong, but it looks like they can just revoke the license completely if you decide to let your friend borrow your activation key for a bit. You really have to wonder how we got to this point, because that is insane. I've let people use my Adobe stuff before for quick things like editing PDFs and shit. If I did the same with Resolve and they catch wind of it, they could terminate my license agreement and I could be fucked. You know, it's stupid, right? Like, you paid for the fucking software and you don't even have the right to let someone borrow it for a couple hours. Literally is the equivalent of bringing a game CD to your friend's house so you can play it on their console. By modern logic, the game publisher would go into their house and physically snap the CD in half. Thankfully, I don't see this happening with DaVinci Resolve, A, because it's developed by Blackmagic Design, who have their own line of proprietary and expensive as shit cameras, which more or less help supplement the development cost. And B, the backlash would be immense. Official online resellers make sure to mention that it's a perpetual lifetime license, so if you bought Resolve Studio from one of them, expecting to have access until the day you die, and that changes later, that would look pretty bad. But regardless, even if I get good vibes from this company and their work, the framework is still there. Digging a bit deeper, this isn't actually much different from a standard EULA. If anything, it's slightly more forgiving. But unless part of the agreement is clearly and specifically stating that your payment entitles you to access to this product for the rest of your life, it may as well just be a long-term rental. Now, here's the thing. I've been talking about people not being able to own anything digital anymore. Everyone already thinks that. You've probably seen a bunch of commentary channels talk about this already, but there's another even more sinister vibe that I'm getting from this. In Adam Neely's recent video talking about Berklee College of Music adding an AI songwriting course to the curriculum for some reason, he points out a recent trend in the marketing space where luxury brands like Porsche make a big deal about their commercials not being AI generated, while normal brands like Coke have commercials that are AI generated.
Coke is for the people, and so Coke commercials use AI. Porsche, however, is for the elite, people who have money to spend. Commercials for Porsche make a big deal of not using AI. Human art is more expensive. It's more prestige. You could say it's more elitist. Porsche is learning how to play in a symphony, or learning how to write like Duke Ellington, or play like Stevie Wonder. Coke is making memes.
This is an upsettingly potent analogy. We already know and feel it in our bones that generative AI in creative work signals laziness, signals apathy towards what you're trying to say, which ultimately brings the entire project down and makes it feel like slop, even if generative AI only played a small part in it. And if the entire product is a result of generative AI, it feels especially low effort, cheap, patronizing. It's like it's trying to be the least offensive on the senses as it can be, even if it's a subject that should be treated with more artistic and emotional intent than typing sad kitten into VO3 and pushing a YouTube short with whatever garbage it spits out. But hey, at least we still have a choice, right? It's the free marketplace or whatever. If you don't want AI slop in your feeds, that's fine. After all, Netflix doesn't have any generative AI on it. It's all human made and it's only $8 a month. I actually mean $10 a month. Whoops, sorry again. You're looking at $13. Whoa there, pal. You're looking at $18 a month now, bud. Also, all we have are the original series now. What's that? You missed an $8 price? That's fine. We can accommodate that. If you don't mind ads blasting into your face hole every goddamn minute. Also, have fun trying to work out all the subscription services you gotta pay for monthly just to watch the shows you enjoy. Do you see the problem here? Adam Neely's analogy is purely in the context of the marketing space, which we've already seen evidence of, but I fear that soon it'll apply to basically every form of entertainment we consume. And it's not going to be done by some royal fucking decree being like, the peasants shall be appeased by the most inoffensive and uninspiring bullshit from that 1984 machine that plays random notes. No. It's going to look more like the cabal of tech bros jerking each other off in Silicon Valley, slowly pricing out everyone but the 1% from even getting legal access to art they enjoy at all. Think about it, ho. Prices for everything are going up and wages are not going up with it. Saving money for leisure is essentially impossible unless you're making six figures. Half of your fucking paycheck goes to rent and utilities every month. We are in a cost of living crisis and something has to give. And so what's the most logical thing you decide to give up first? Streaming services, monthly subscriptions to games, other subscription-based forms of entertainment designed to bring you joy or make you think about anything outside of yourself. If you're an artist, maybe you have to give up software. Even if it's not subscription-based, maybe you end up having to sell your computer. At least you still have your PS5 so you can play your digital library of games, but surprise, a licensing fuck-up removed all the games from your library. You can buy new ones, but they're even more expensive now than physical versions used to be. You can slip further and further into poverty, keep trying to come out on top of it until you're barely breaking even, only able to afford the bare essentials to keep you alive and go to your 9 to 5. And mind you, this isn't in an effort to get more money out of you. They don't care about that anymore. We already know venture capital is just throwing billions of dollars at these companies, which they then just light on fire. I've said it before, I'll say it again. They're coming for our souls. This genuinely feels like book burning, except instead of getting rid of the dissenting knowledge completely, they're like, we converted them all to ebooks. Everyone enjoy your new government-provided e-reader distributed by this megacorp until we remotely deactivate it and you lose all the books on it. It is an agonizingly slow erosion of the human spirit. It is a glass ceiling above the preservation of creativity that's been constantly lowering since society began. It's only held up so long because we keep pushing back. We keep holding it up so those beneath us are able to continue having a space to create and manifest the analogs we use to come to terms of our humanity. Without the various sorts of media and art we consume and create, without the different crafted experiences and analogs we get the privilege of feeling in our bones by our fellow man, what are we? We're husks. We are nothing.
We've been new. These big tech oligarch having-ass pieces of shit working with the government are going to try and eliminate pieces of art that they do not like, trying to stifle its reach, trying to ban it wherever possible. And you know how you do that super easily? By making everything fucking digital on shit that they own. That is how you do it. That is how you control what people consume. If they don't have the physical copies that they can ever go back to, then that's like, you know, you just solve the problem of people being able to pick their own shit and have their own fucking thoughts.
I heard the news about the PlayStation physical media being discontinued by my friend Blend. You should follow him on the computer. And he made a great point that essentially kicked off my conspiratorial meltdown that I've been going through the entire time I've been working on this. One underrated part of physical games is shopping with your parents at the store to pick a new game for the family, or getting games for Christmas or birthdays or anniversaries. They kept parents and kids locked in and they bought games together. It was actual bonding. I am in such firm agreement with this. I don't remember the act of buying every game I've ever purchased on Steam. It's just clicking some buttons and typing in my credit card info. My brain doesn't bother recording it because it's so routine. But I still have memories of being single digits in age in the game store with my mom and or dad, watching them buy those giant-ass guidebooks that used to exist for Final Fantasy games. I still remember so vividly when I got a copy of Super Monkey Ball Deluxe for the PlayStation 2. Excitedly grabbing the box off the shelf, waiting beside my mom while she paid for it because I was holding on to it on the drive home, even putting it in the PS2 for the first time and having it stay on the black screen, taking so long to start up that we almost ejected it to return it to the store before it abruptly came to life. I played the shit out of that game as a kid, and every couple years I'd pick it up again for a small bit of nostalgia. I even brought the PS2 with me to college so I could play it alongside many other games we had. And to this day, if I put that disc into a PlayStation 2, it'll start running and I can keep playing just as normal. It's something that is wholly lost today. You can attribute it to perceived advancements in technology or to things like COVID lockdowns making us more isolated from each other, but regardless, the feeling of community that we used to have tied with purchasing and engaging with the media we consume is gone. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that buying things digitally is the worst thing ever. Obviously, the convenience of purchasing a movie or game or software that can download and open within minutes and dive right in is amazing. The accessibility of it alongside the ability to experience cultures from around the world is immeasurably incredible. But they also have a direct, measurable effect on our psyches and how we find community with each other. It's oxymoronic in a way, where we learn so much about each other, but we never exchange anything. We never act on it. And if things keep going the way that they're headed, we never will. As the class divide grows wider every day, as more and more artistic statements are lost or locked behind a ludicrous paywall, every one of us loses. We lose money, then we lose art, then we lose community, then we have nothing to fight for. I'm serious. The infrastructure is being laid out in a way where we can lose access to everything hosted on servers that we do not own. This is why I'm somewhat passionate about media preservation. We need to take more initiative with backing up the art we enjoy before it's gone forever. Music, movies, games, software, whatever, everything, all of it. If a single thing gave you a feeling that nothing else has ever succeeded at giving you, that made you feel seen, that made you feel a certain way, educated you, changed your mind on something, keep it. Find a way to keep it, not just for yourself, but for other people in the future that you may want to share it with, because one day it's going to be gone from whatever service you got it from. Either from it just being lost to time, servers upgraded, files being mismanaged, or maybe you live in a tyrannical surveillance state where everything you're doing is being perceived at all times and they can just decide what you can and can't see. Either or, in a year when our souls are collectively constantly taking a beating from the world around us, it's important now, more than ever, that we hold on to what makes us human, what keeps us connected to one another in a way that tech bros on high could only dream of feeling. Hold on to it, because otherwise we're not just losing our favorite media, we're losing each other. I know that would have been a very effective place to end the video, and for all intents and purposes, it is over, but there's one more semi-related call to action I want to make for anyone attending AnthroCon 2026. Odds are, if you made it to the end of the video, you understand how terrible of a time it is for the internet, with big tech companies abusing the fuck out of any trust we were dumb enough to put into them. So I want to circle back to earlier this year and talk about Haven again. For those who don't know, Haven is a social platform currently in development, aiming to be a good place for artists or other creators to share their work without worrying about censoring themselves or having AI companies scrape everything they post. So I got William, the main dude behind it, to attend AnthroCon because he knows the demographic he's after. If you're attending AnthroCon 2026 and you see him around, feel free to ask how he can help. Alternatively, if you're somewhat versed in engineering, web techie stuff that I know nothing about, feel free to send Haven a message on their website, which I'll leave in the description. Full disclaimer, once again, I'm not sponsored by Haven. I did get access to some Kickstarter rewards for free after they saw the video, but no money has been exchanged. I've just talked to William in private a bit, he seems great, and I still really believe in his vision. So if you want to help fight back against the general shitstorm we're finding ourselves in, this is a tangible thing to direct your energy to. Otherwise, that's the end of the video. Thanks to the patrons and Ko-Fi donors who are on screen now. Go enjoy the rest of your day. Try not to shrivel into a raisin in this heat wave. Okay, bye.